My cousin sabotaged my career with devious fake emails at our family gathering. But I exposed his lies, saved my job, and turned his scheme against him to reclaim my future. You think you're the only one who deserved that promotion? I made sure you didn't get it, cousin. Those emails from you to the boss? Yeah, that was me. Those words hit me like a punch to the gut. My cousin Noah, smirking across the dinner table at our family gathering, didn't even flinch as he admitted to sabotaging my career. I'm Connor, 29 years old, and I've spent the last 5 years grinding at my marketing job, building a solid reputation, only to have it torched by someone I grew up with. The chatter of our family, plates clinking, kids laughing in the backyard, faded into a dull hum as I processed what he'd just said. It was a warm Saturday evening, the kind where the air smells like grilled burgers and sunscreen. Our annual family barbecue was in full swing at my parents' house, a sprawling backyard with string lights and picnic tables. About 20 of us were there, cousins, aunts, uncles, my parents, and a few neighbors. I'd been looking forward to this day, a chance to relax after a brutal few months at work, but Noah's words turned it into a nightmare. Let me back up. I work at a mid-sized marketing firm, and I'd been up for a big promotion, senior account manager. It was a role I'd been eyeing for 2 years, putting in late nights, nailing client pitches, and mentoring new hires. My boss, Lisa, had all but told me the job was mine. Then, 3 weeks ago, I got called into her office. She looked uncomfortable, sliding a printed email across her desk. Connor, did you send this? She asked. The email, supposedly from me, was a rant about a client, calling them incompetent and a waste of time. Another email, sent to a colleague, trashed Lisa's leadership. I was floored. I hadn't written a single word of it. I tried to explain, but the damage was done. The promotion went to someone else, a guy from another team who was solid but hadn't put in half the work I had. I was humiliated, second-guessing myself, wondering if I'd somehow slipped up. Now, here was Noah, 27, grinning like he'd won a prize, admitting he'd forged those emails to tank my career. Noah's always been competitive, the kind of guy who needs to one-up everyone. Growing up, he'd brag about his grades, his soccer trophies, even how many likes he got on social media. He's charming when he wants to be, with a quick laugh and a knack for making people like him. But there's a sharpness to him, a need to be the best that makes him ruthless. We were close as kids, building forts in the woods behind our houses, but as we got older, I noticed he'd get quiet when I did well. Like when I landed my job or bought my first car. I never thought he'd go this far. The table was crowded with plates of potato salad and half-eaten burgers. My mom was at the other end, laughing with Aunt Linda, oblivious to the bomb Noah had just dropped. I leaned forward, keeping my voice low. Why would you do that, Noah? What's your problem? He shrugged, popping a chip into his mouth. You were getting too full of yourself, Connor. Always talking about your big job, your big plans. I figured I'd knock you down a peg. I wanted to lunge across the table, but I gripped my glass instead, the lemonade sloshing. My younger sister, Angela, 24, was sitting next to me, scrolling on her phone. She hadn't heard Noah, but she glanced up, sensing the tension. Angela's the peacemaker in our family, always trying to smooth things over. She's got a big heart but can be naive, thinking everyone's got good intentions. You okay, Connor? She asked, her brow furrowing. I forced a smile. Yeah, just catching up with Noah. I wasn't ready to drag her into this. Not yet. As the evening went on, I couldn't shake Noah's smug face. But there was more to it than just his betrayal. Another problem was brewing, one that made this mess even uglier. See, Noah works at a rival marketing firm, and I'd recently heard from a colleague that he'd been struggling to land clients. His team was under pressure, and word was Noah was on thin ice with his boss. It hit me, he didn't just sabotage me out of spite. He was trying to poach my clients. One of the emails he faked had accidentally been sent to a key client, who then started talks with Noah's firm. He wasn't just knocking me down, he was climbing over me. Then there was my family. My dad's always been big on keeping the peace. He's the type who'd rather sweep problems under the rug than deal with them. If I called Noah out in front of everyone, Dad would probably tell me to let it go or work it out privately. My mom, on the other hand, would take it personally, crying about how her family was falling apart. And Aunt Linda, Noah's mom? She'd defend him to the death, no matter what he did. Confronting Noah publicly would turn into a circus, and I'd look like the bad guy. I excused myself and slipped into the house, needing a minute to think. The kitchen was quiet, the hum of the fridge mixing with the distant laughter outside. I leaned against the counter, replaying Noah's words. My job was everything to me. Not just the paycheck, but the respect I'd earned, the future I was building. Losing that promotion wasn't just a setback. It was a gut check. Had I been too cocky, like Noah said? Was this my fault somehow? But no. I shook my head. This wasn't about me. This was about Noah's ego, his need to win at any cost. I had to do something, but I needed to be smart. Storming out there and yelling would only make me look unhinged. I needed proof, a plan, and a way to turn this around without torching family ties or my career. The night of the barbecue, after Noah's bombshell, I couldn't just sit there pretending everything was fine. I wandered to the edge of the backyard, where the string lights didn't quite reach, and stared at the fireflies blinking in the dark. Growing up, Noah and I had spent summers chasing those fireflies, jars in hand, laughing until our sides hurt. I could still picture him at 10, his gap-toothed grin as he swore he'd caught more than me. Back then, I thought we'd always have each other's backs. When did that change? I remembered a moment in high school when I got accepted into a better college than he did. He'd congratulated me, but his smile was tight, his eyes distant. Maybe that was the start of it, when his competitiveness turned into something darker. Standing there, I wondered if I'd missed chances to fix things before they got this bad. The next morning, I got a call from my cousin Cynthia, 31, who'd been at the barbecue but left early. Cynthia's the family's unofficial therapist, always analyzing everyone's motives. She's warm but blunt, never afraid to call things as she sees them. Connor, I heard Noah bragging about something at the grill before I left, she said. He didn't say what, but he was acting like he'd pulled off some big win. You okay? I hesitated, then told her the truth. She sighed. Noah's always been threatened by you, but don't let him drag you down to his level. You're better than that. Her words stuck with me, giving me a spark of clarity. I couldn't just react. I had to outsmart him. Cynthia offered to talk to Aunt Linda, but I asked her to hold off. I didn't want the family picking sides yet. At work, the fallout from the emails was still rippling. My coworker Jerry, 35, had started giving me side-eye in meetings like he thought I'd actually written those emails. Jerry's the office gossip, always stirring the pot, and I could tell he was spreading doubts about me. During a team lunch, he made a snide comment about checking our inboxes before speaking up. Sharon shot him a glare, but it stung. I pulled Jerry aside later, keeping my tone even. If you've got something to say it to my face. He backpedaled, mumbling about just joking. But I knew I had to rebuild my reputation fast. I started volunteering for extra projects, staying late to help a new hire with a pitch. It was exhausting, but every small win, like a nod from Lisa during a presentation, felt like a step toward proving myself again. One evening, I stopped by my parents' house to clear my head. My dad was in the garage, tinkering with his old radio, the one he's been fixing for years. He's never been great with emotions, but he's a good listener when you catch him alone. I told him about Noah, keeping it vague, just saying we'd had a falling out. He set down his screwdriver, frowning. Family's messy, Connor, but you don't let it break you. You keep moving forward. It wasn't much, but it was enough to remind me why I was fighting. Not just for my job, but for the life I'd built. As I left, I noticed a photo on the fridge. Me and Noah at a family picnic years ago, arms around each other, grinning. It hurt to look at, but it also fueled me. I wasn't going to let him rewrite our story. Over the next few days, I dug in. First, I reached out to my IT buddy at work, Ethan, 32, who's a wizard with tech. Ethan's laid back but sharp, always willing to help if you buy him a coffee. I told him about the emails, leaving out Noah's name for now. Can you trace where they came from? I asked. He raised an eyebrow but nodded. Give me a couple days. While Ethan worked, I kept things normal with the family. Angela called to check in, sensing something was off. I told her a watered-down version of the story, saying I'd had a work mix-up. She pushed for details, but I dodged, not wanting to stress her out. Meanwhile, Noah texted me a breezy, "Hope you're not too mad." 'Cause, like it was a joke. I didn't reply. The bigger issue was my job. Lisa, my boss, was still frosty with me. I tried explaining the emails weren't mine, but she'd brushed it off, saying, "We've moved on, Connor. Focus on your current role." I could feel my reputation slipping. Worse, that client Noah's firm was wooing? They were one of my biggest accounts. If they jumped ship, it'd be another black mark on my record. Then there was Sharon, 30, my coworker and friend. She's ambitious, always hustling, but fiercely loyal. We'd bonded over late-night deadlines and bad office coffee. I confided in her about the promotion mess, though I didn't mention Noah. She was furious. "Someone set you up, Connor. You need to fight this." Her support gave me a boost, but it also added pressure. If I didn't fix this, I'd let her down too. Ethan came through 2 days later. We met at a diner and he slid a USB drive across the table. "The emails came from an IP address outside the company," he said, sipping his coffee. I cross-checked it. It's tied to a cafe downtown. Whoever sent them used a VPN, but they slipped up, logged into a personal account from the same IP. "Guess who?" "Noah," I said, my stomach twisting. "Bingo. Your cousin's not as slick as he thinks." Ethan had found a login to Noah's personal email, time-stamped minutes before the fake emails were sent. It wasn't bulletproof evidence, but it was close. Armed with this, I started planning. I couldn't just go to Lisa with the USB drive. She'd want more context, and I didn't want to drag family drama into work. Plus, Noah's firm was circling my client, and I needed to protect that relationship. So, I set up a meeting with the client, a guy named Mark who valued honesty. I came clean about the email mix-up, framing it as a security breach I was resolving. Mark appreciated the transparency and agreed to stick with us, even praising my professionalism to Lisa. That was a win, but Noah was still a problem. Back home, things got trickier. Angela overheard Aunt Linda bragging about Noah's big new client at a family dinner. She texted me, worried. "Is this about your job, Connor? What's going on?" I couldn't keep her in the dark anymore, so I told her everything. She was livid, ready to confront Noah herself, but I stopped her. "I've got this," I said, hoping I sounded more confident than I felt. My plan came together at the next family gathering, 2 weeks later. It was a smaller event, just immediate family at my parents' house. Noah was there, acting like nothing had happened, joking with Uncle Mike about football. I waited until dessert, when everyone was relaxed, to make my move. I stood up, clearing my throat. "Hey, everyone, I've got something to share," I said, keeping my tone calm. "A few weeks ago, I lost a big promotion at work because of some emails I didn't write. Turns out, someone hacked my account." I paused, letting that sink in. Noah's smirk faltered. "I had IT look into it, and we traced the emails to a cafe downtown. Funny thing, the same person was logged into their personal email at the exact same time. I didn't name Noah, but I didn't have to." Aunt Linda's face went red, and my dad looked confused. Noah tried to laugh it off. "What's this about, Connor? You're not saying it's me, are you?" "I'm just sharing the facts," I said, meeting his eyes. "The evidence is with my boss now. She's deciding what to do." That was a bluff. Lisa didn't have the USB drive yet, but it worked. Noah went quiet, and the room buzzed with whispers. Later, Angela pulled me aside, grinning. "That was badass, Connor. You shut him down without starting a fight." The fallout was messy but manageable. Aunt Linda called me the next day, half apologizing, half defending Noah. I didn't argue, just said I was protecting my career. Noah texted me, offering a week. I didn't mean for it to go that far. I ignored him. At work, I gave Lisa the USB drive and explained everything, framing Noah as a rival trying to steal clients. She was impressed with how I'd handled the client situation and hinted I'd be first in line for the next promotion. Things aren't perfect. Family gatherings are awkward now, and Noah and I barely speak. But I feel stronger, like I've reclaimed my place. My clients are secure, my boss trusts me again, and Sharon's been hyping me up at work. Angela's proud of me, though she wishes I'd punched Noah just once. Looking back, I wonder what you'd have done in my shoes. Was I too soft on Noah, letting him off with just a public call-out? Should I have gone harder, maybe reported him to his boss? Or was this the best way? Keeping my cool, protecting my job, and letting him stew in his own mess? Let me know what you think. I'm still figuring out if I played this right.
Thanks for watching. Give it a like, hit subscribe, and come back for more cool stuff.